Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenny and today I'm gonna tell you a few things that I wish I knew before I moved to China, and I brought along my good friend Kaja.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for having me on your channel. I am currently sitting in my new room in my new apartment here in Shanghai. Yo guys, what is up?
She makes so many amazing videos on expat life in China, and she has interviewed a couple people as well about their stories, featuring yours truly as well. So make sure you pop over to her channel to check it out as well. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for new videos every week, and let me know if you like more content about living in China as well. So first off, I want to say culture shock. Yes, if you look at me, I am Chinese, so you would assume that I would just assimilate smoothly into culture and society. Just the way you speak to each other as well. Obviously, they're very into kind of giving respect to your elders and your jambei. So whether that's in school or in your workplace or just amongst friends, usually when someone's older than you, you'd call them 姐姐 or 哥哥. For example, in school, if I was first year and we had second, third, fourth year students, we'd always call them 师姐 or 师哥, which kind of just means like older study sister, older study brother. And I didn't know that at the start, and I'd literally like just walk past him and like nod and scurry off, but it is quite a level thing, and some of them can find it disrespectful if you don't say that. I'm in the workplace, most of the times we call our bosses by 老师, so if I was your boss, I would be called like 周老师, and it's just easy if you like don't remember their names or their titles. Obviously, if you talk to like the big boss, they're usually like 总, so I'd be like 周总, you know what I mean? And then even with schooling as well, we were at university, and I feel like maybe in Western cultures, by the time you get to uni, the professors are kind of like, you do the work or you don't do it. Like, we don't care, we're not going to chase you up. I don't know if it was just my uni specifically, but we had, for example, morning exercise, 早工, at like 6 a.m. every day. And if we didn't go, the teachers would come to the dorm, knock on the doors, and literally like grab you to go down. We had curfew in our dorms as well. Every night, the ayis, the aunties would come upstairs, knock on each one of our doors, made sure we were all in bed by 10 p.m. and would turn off the lights. And if anyone was not home by then, they would tell your teacher or your dean, and you'd get like an infringement. So it's definitely a lot more like stricter and rules when it comes to uni, and when it comes to work, all the levels of hierarchy you have to deal with, and obviously just the sheer amount of dialects, languages, and food. I grew up in Australia, and just with food, most of the food we've had is kind of like Guangzhou style, like Canton style stir-fried wok dishes, and that's always been Chinese food to us. What I didn't know was they're like Sichuan style food, there's like Dongbei style food, there's like so many different styles of dishes that when I went there, I was like, oh my god, all of this is Chinese food? Like, I've only been eating one type of Chinese food for so long. That was all a bit of a culture shock to me. I just had to kind of readjust the way I spoke to people, the way I worked, and kind of the way I lived my life.
So, number one thing that I wish I would know before moving to China was that you are supposed to have a Chinese name. I kind of heard about it before, but I didn't know that it's kind of a must. At least if you are a university student, you need a Chinese name to register at a university. I always thought that people sort of just chose to have Chinese names just like for fun and to be like, you know, open to the new culture. But when I was doing the registration at Fudan University in Shanghai, it turned out that I literally needed a Chinese name written in Chinese characters to do the registration, and I couldn't skip that, so I was told that I literally have to come up with a Chinese name on the spot, and there were like 30 people in the line behind me, so I had no time. Luckily, there was a very nice lady who helped me, and my Chinese name is basically my name just written in Chinese characters. However, this situation could have ended much worse than it did, because in China, the meaning of characters that you use to write your name is really important. You don't want to have like bad characters or characters that can mean something shady or weird. Luckily, I didn't end up with anything shady, but I know a lot of people who had either just like weird Chinese names that they couldn't remember, or just like very complicated ones. So yeah, remember to pick your Chinese name before you go to China.
So public holidays. Now, there aren't too many in China, but you have like two big ones. You have 国庆节, which is like the national holiday, which is about 1 week, and then you have Chinese New Year, which ranges from like 1 to 2 weeks, depending on if you're at school, your company, etc. If you are not at an international company, you don't really get Christmas holiday or anything, but if they're accustomed to hiring foreigners, they'll probably give you that week off. There's also like 五一节, which is I think like Labor Day, May the 1st, and then you have like 中秋节, where you eat the 月饼 and stuff. But when the public holiday comes and just say it falls on a Saturday, that's it. You don't get like a makeup day on the Monday. Like for example, in Australia, if New Year's Day fell on a Sunday, we'd have day in lieu on Monday, and we'd still have the Monday as the day off. In China, that doesn't happen. Also, I found that when you have a break of over 3 days, just say like 国庆节 is a 7-day break, you have to work like 2 weekend days to make up for it. So you've got to make up for public holidays in China. So for example, if we were breaking from Monday to Monday, you'd expect the next Sunday or Saturday to be working, and perhaps the one after that, because you can't have too many days off. So that was something that was like a shock to me, because I would book holidays or little trips to go on, because I was like, oh, I've got the long weekend, I'm gonna take that off. And then they're like, actually next Sunday you're gonna be working or studying. So when you come back from that wonderful holiday, you might have to work like 8 days in a row or 9 days in a row, because you're making up for it. No public holiday comes for free.
Eating Western food in China is very much possible, but it will definitely cost you more than in the West. Meaning you might spend way more money on food and restaurants, but also groceries in China than you did back home. And if you think, like I thought in the beginning, that no, I'm moving to China and from now on I will only eat Chinese food, no, it's not possible. At least it was not possible for me. I freaking love Chinese food, and I obviously ate it every day when I lived in China, but I also needed my Western food, meaning just bread or milk or pizza once in a while, right? And buying all these products is gonna be way more expensive. When I first moved to China, I remember paying like $10 for like a little box of like Philadelphia cheese, or even something worse than Philadelphia. And also, to be honest, you know what? I think also just be prepared that if you've never lived in Asia, just like me before I moved to China, I only lived in Europe. And for some reason, I was stupid enough to think that I can just like move to China and forget about my Western upbringing, meaning like I can just eat Chinese food all day long. No.
This is so useful. WeChat groups. As a foreigner, you'll be facing new experiences every day and new difficulties every day. I lived my first 2 years without even being part of a WeChat group. I didn't even download WeChat until I got there. So basically, you need WeChat for everything. We don't really use work emails. It's all done through WeChat. Schooling, the teacher will message you through WeChat, and there are so many fantastic groups on it, whether you're looking to rent an apartment, whether you're looking to sell things, whether you're looking to like swap clothing or something, or even like pet groups. There is a WeChat group for everything. So for example, I was part of a cats group in Shanghai, and we would look for stray cats that needed help, or someone could help and like come babysit your cat for a while. And that was part of like a swap and sell before I left as well, just to get rid of a few knickknacks. And everyone in those groups are so helpful. Anything from like admin stuff to lifestyle to social events. My roommate Lauren at the time, she was like queen of these WeChat groups. So when I moved into her place, she like sent me like 20 different invitations to be part of. There's also Facebook groups. Just check if there's one for your city. I was part of like Shanghai Expats, and everyone's generally quite helpful and quite well versed in the lifestyle there, so they can help you from anything with bureaucracy, your passport, your visa, which party to go to, how to fix a leak in your apartment. So very, very useful. And if you guys are part of any WeChat groups for foreigners or expats in China, please leave them down below, and maybe you can help each other out and join them.
I wish I would know how difficult it really will be to move to China. Obviously, I knew that it will be challenging and it won't be easy. I mean, moving to a foreign country is never easy. But to be honest, I don't think I really knew how freaking difficult it will be for me in the very beginning. I was basically crying. I was crying because I was so miserable in the beginning. I was struggling with the cultural shock, and cultural shock is very much real. It's not just something, you know, people make up. Even if you traveled before, even if you lived in a couple of different countries before that are not China, you'll probably still struggle in the beginning. Everyone I talk to, all foreigners usually go for this first like hate phase almost, where they really just not necessarily like their life in China, but then eventually everything gets better and you get used to the things that annoy you in the beginning, like crazy traffic or issues with communicating. Honestly, what I've learned in China is that you can really get used to everything. So it's super important to just stay open-minded and just take it easy in the beginning. Like, don't sort of expect yourself to love your life in China from the very beginning. At least I didn't, but then eventually I obviously end up loving it, and moving to China was like the best decision I've ever made in my life. I'm pretty sure you'll like it. Just give yourself some time and it will get better. I promise. Everything gets better with time. Chinese bureaucracy is no joke, and I honestly wish I would be better prepared for that. So do your research, proper research, very proper research. I cannot stress that enough. Have like 10,000 pictures of your face, like passport pictures of your face, because you will need it, trust me. I honestly took like 20 with me to China and I used them all in like 2 days. I don't know why, but like they need a lot of pictures of your face wherever you go. You need to do all kinds of things when you move to China. You need to get health tests. You need to do registration at the police station when you get an apartment. There are a lot of steps that you need to do, and you need to have all kinds of different documents and copies of your passport. And also just be prepared to struggle a little, because yeah, bureaucracy in China it's not easy. It's not easy.
This is kind of tailing on with what Kaja said about bureaucracy, but they're very into paperwork. It's like a very technologically advanced country. Like, everything can be done through Alipay, WeChat, you can order everything online, but some things are all on paper, and make sure you just bring a folder to store all your information, because you never know when you need it. Always bring your passport around. I think as a foreigner, you actually legally have to carry your passport on you at all times. When you go to the bank, you have to have your passport ready, photos ready, everything's done on paper. They'll give you your stack of papers afterwards. When you go get your internet, everything's done on paper. Like when you rent an apartment, you gotta keep all of these things, because when you're doing your like residence permit or when you're applying for something else, they'll want to cross-check everything. And I just left these papers all over the place, and it was such a pain to do things. And there's a lot of steps you've got to go through, like even for internet. I'm pretty sure I'm banned by 2 out of 3 of the internet service providers in China, because I didn't know, but once you've finished using your internet and moved to another apartment, you're meant to return the box to them, and you have to go there in person to like deregister yourself or something, and I never did that, so I can't use those companies anymore. So the next time, I guess, if I ever go back to China and rent a new apartment, I've only got one option. So just make sure you have them with you at all times. It saves you multiple trips, because every time you go, the wait time is so long, especially for internet and like your phone and everything, because there's always a lot of like grandmas and grandpas, and they're just sitting there and they've got like a million questions. Love them, bless them, but I don't got time to wait 5 hours to fix my phone bill.
I lived in Shanghai, and I freaking wish I would know that nobody takes the maglev train in Shanghai. Or I don't know, maybe some people do. Let us know in the comments if you actually take maglev train, because honestly, I don't know who takes it. So when I first arrived in China, my family and I, we took the maglev train, and then since it doesn't actually go to downtown Shanghai, it kind of like stops halfway, and then you still have to take metro or taxi, so that's why it doesn't really make sense. We took the train, and then we got off the station, and since it's like basically only tourists who take that train, there are a lot of taxi drivers who wait for those tourists at that particular station, and unfortunately they often try to cheat you. I'm not saying that all taxi drivers in Shanghai do that, not at all. I actually didn't have very many bad experiences with taxi drivers in Shanghai. Honestly, maybe like 2 or yeah, maybe 3, but it's not a lot in 2 years. However, the worst experience was definitely taking the taxi from the maglev train station. The driver tried to make us pay 600 kwai instead of 60, And yeah, it was just a very bad experience, especially since it was our first day. We were super tired after a long flight, super jet lagged. So yeah, if you come to Shanghai, don't take the maglev train. But if you're going somewhere else in China, not Shanghai, my best advice would be to do a proper research. Make sure to read blogs or watch YouTube videos from expats or from foreigners who actually live in China. I think a lot of the time when we do research on like tourist sites or from other tourists that just, you know, came to China and stayed there for a couple of weeks or whatever, we tend to get like not the best information. I think China is still not the easiest country to travel to. I'm not saying that it's like super difficult. Nowadays, I honestly don't think it's super difficult. However, there are still certain things that expats, foreigners will know much better than people who just traveled there. So yeah, make sure to listen to the right people.
This is more of a tip than something that I wish I knew, but make friends with your bao. And a lot of people are worried about safety when it comes to moving China, but honestly, I find it to be so safe, especially in Shanghai. There were always people around. I could walk on the street at 3 a.m. at night and feel completely safe. Maybe sometimes in Melbourne, I might walk on the street at 3 a.m. at night and feel a bit like nervous. The reason why I feel more safe in China is because there are always people around. Every time you walk past an apartment complex, there is a baoan at the front. There's probably 2 or 3 just chatting and having guads like sunflower seeds. I don't know if they do much on the protecting side, like they're probably not going to chase someone down for you or like capture them for you, but they're just always there to check that whoever's entering the compound lives there, or they're just delivering something, or they're a friend. They check out the car plate numbers. They're there, and sometimes they hold your packages for you if you're not at home. So I think it's quite useful. Just like say hi every time you walk past, have a little conversation with them. So they're kind of like if you lived in, I guess, New York apartments, like your doorman. And they're just great people to know, great people to practice your Chinese with, learn more about your space. And of course, when you need to get like documents done, they can be of great help as well. When you go to China, like Kaja said, you need to register at the police station with your address. And to do that, you need to get like your apartment complex to write a letter confirming that you stay there. And I had no idea how to do that, and my baoan like helped me do everything. And if you live in an apartment complex where there are a couple foreigner people living there, they know how to help you. They know how to like connect you to the right people. Some baoans like even help my friend feed her cat. Like I just think they're lovely people and they keep you safe. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and thank you to Kaja for joining in. Make sure you check out her videos if you have any more interest in moving to China or just curious to see what it's like. And let us know down below if there's any other aspect you want us to share information about, or if you want us to do another version 2 of things I wish I knew before moving to China. Thank you so much for watching today's video. This is my Instagram, where you can follow for daily updates at jennyjzhou, my Weibo at 弄堂里的 Jenny, and my bilingual podcast with Bebe called The Shameless Sisters or 好意思姐妹. And I'll see you guys next time!